Hi, I'm Dana, and today I've got a bit of a weird one, I think. I don't feel like I've seen anyone really broach this topic, and I think it's perhaps because it is a little touchy, kind of. And I want to talk about creating personalities, because we talk a lot about masking in the autism community in general, and I don't think that this is part of that. I think that there's a very separate thing that I've experienced, and I think probably a lot of other autistic people have too, but I've not seen anyone talk about it, so I want to bring it up. Because obviously with masking, you're having different personalities depending who you're around or what you're doing, but for me, I've never created the personalities that I use when I mask. I don't mean to do it a lot of the time. It's just I'm in this situation, I'm very uncomfortable and anxious, and the mask automatically gets thrown on to protect myself. It's my little coping mechanism. That's why most autistic people mask. It's how we cope and manage with the world. And there's a very separate little phenomenon. Phenomenon. Is that the word? I was trying to use a fancy word to make it funny, but I don't know if the word is actually pronounced phenomenon or phenomenon. It's non, isn't it? It's the N. We're getting off to a fantastic start. So there's a separate little thing that happens that I've been through where I would latch on to characters, people, actors, random celebrities, whoever it was. I'm going to go into detail in a minute, but I would just latch on and be like, I need to be this person. That's what I need to be. And I mostly think that lots of other autistic people are dealing with this, or I've been through this, because I mentioned in a random video a while back, I'm not even going to link it, I don't know which one it was, but I mentioned that a lot of the time it's more of when I can't do something or when I really struggle to do something, it's more that I'm upset that I'm not the person that can do those things. You know, things like when people go backpacking across Asia and they have these big experiences. I would hate that. I would not do well with that, going hostel to hostel and having one bag of stuff and having to go out and do something and meet people every single day. I would hate it. But there's still a part of me that really wants to be the person that would go and do that and enjoy it. And lots of people said that you can relate to that. I got a good to me 4 comments is lots of people. So lots of you said that you've also had that. And I think that, you know, when it's something big like backpacking through Asia, I don't have the money anyway, so it's not gonna happen. But when it's a TV character, when it's a random celebrity, when it's an actor, it's one of those things where you can find out lots about them. And for me, I've had a lot of times that I would latch on to fictional characters or, you know, celebrities and really alter myself to try and be more like them and really try to fit myself into the mould. And I think it was because I was sort of really searching for how to be a normal person. And there's no such thing as fucking normal. Be as weird as you want, who gives a shit? But especially in high school and in those first years when I'd moved away from my parents, I was living with my partner and I was trying to be an adult and trying to figure out who I was as an adult. I found it incredibly hard to figure out what my personality is, who am I as a person. I didn't know, so it was a much easier thing to do to attempt to be other people than to try to figure out who I am. So the one that really sticks out to me when I think about this is that in high school, I was real into Hannah Bonham Carter. I just thought she was so talented and cool and pretty and just everything about her fascinated me essentially. I loved the movies that she was in, so it was really easy for me to then start Googling her and wanting to know more about her as a person. And the more I learned about her, the more I was I need to be her. So I was massively influenced by her fashion. I started pinning my hair up because I didn't realise my hair actually is curly yet, and I didn't know how to make it be curly, so I couldn't have curly hair like her, but I'd pin it up to make it all look messy and Miss Lovity, and just generally be a bit more quirky than I actually naturally really was. I was already kind of just pretty weird, but I was weird when I was expressing myself, so I had to up it a bit to try and be someone else. It's definitely kind of unhealthy in a lot of ways. I was really trying very hard to fully just become someone else, and it wasn't even that I didn't like who I was as a person, but a lot of that was because I didn't have any clue who I was as a person. So it wasn't even that I don't like the person I am, so I need to be someone else. It was me being I'm so different and so feel like such an outsider compared to everyone else that I need to find someone that people like and that people respect and people look up to and people, you know, someone that's considered like cool or nice or whatever. And I need to become them because there's only like 4 types of people in the world and I'm none of them. So I've got to try to become one of them. And like thinking on it now, you can totally pick it up in other places, you know, like I mentioned in a video not that long ago that I had like a whole little alter ego when I was a Hannah Montana fan because I was convinced I was going to become like a world famous musician but be able to like hide my identity just like Hannah Montana. And that was, you know, literally me trying to become Miley Cyrus. I was like, I need to get a music career as Alexis Texas and then I'm gonna like hide my real identity. I'll still go to school but on the weekends I'll be playing a show and it wasn't going to happen. It's not what I wanted. I definitely didn't have the skills and talent for it. But I was kind of convinced that was what was going to happen. Because, you know, my special interests as an autistic person are really strong. So when I get super into something, I get super into it. And even though I rationally, as a person, as an adult human being, know that they're not real people. I know that Miley Stewart's played by Miley Cyrus. I know that, you know, as much as Helen Bonham Carter is a real person, she has a private life and a person that she is outside of, like, the public gaze. You know, as much as I know these things, and especially with fictional characters, as much as I know they are fictional, there's still a little part of me that's like, this is, like, a great and in-depth representation of how people are, you know? With normal people, with the average everyday person, you don't get to see their bedtime routine and what they're like when they're doing this and what they're like when they're doing that and how they look when they first wake up and how they react to all these random situations through the day. But when you've got a fictional character, you do see these things, you know? And it feels like it's possible to get closer to knowing who they really are as a person. You can analyse things and you can watch things back. So even though I know they're fictional, my brain's also like, but this is how you person, this is how you be a real functioning person. And, you know, add on to that, this is a character that you really like and respect and look up to and you think they're really cool. I just wanted to be them. And it's one of those things that a lot of people definitely just find really strange and weird and bizarre because, like, why are you trying to be a fictional character? But, like, if you don't know who you are, and this is the best example you have of how people act and how people behave, especially when they're on their own and not being seen. Because I behave so differently when I'm entirely alone than I do when I'm around anyone at all, especially when I'm out and about in, like, society. So to be able to see how they act in those moments, even though it's literally acting because they're fictional, it felt like an insider's view. It felt like being a fly on the wall. It felt like I could figure them out. And through figuring them out, maybe I can just figure myself out and be the same as them, you know? The thing is, it never worked. I never managed to become any of these characters. I never managed to change the person that I am. I didn't change the way my brain works, the things that I think, the way that I feel. None of it changed, you know? I can buy an outfit. I can try and act a bit. You know, like I bought a book at one point that was literally like a fill out like questionnaire type thing on how to be more like Sherlock Holmes. It was a bad time for me. But it didn't work. Even when I had a book explaining to me how to be more like Sherlock Holmes, I couldn't be more like Sherlock Holmes. But, you know, it didn't work because you can't be someone else. You have to be yourself. It's all you've got. You know, as much as, like, I might not always like the person I am, it is very much what I've got. It's what I'm stuck with. And you can try and work and improve the person that you are, but you're never going to be able to become someone else, you know? Like, so often the characters that I liked were kind of like these dark, deep, mysterious characters. And I am not a dark, deep, mysterious person. I am very easy to laugh. I'm fast to smile. I will overshare if you give the slightest hint that I'm able to. I'm not a dark, deep, mysterious person, and I'm never going to be. But I can work on myself to not overshare in inappropriate situations. I can work on myself to not overshare things that I'm way too uncomfortable with people knowing. You know, you've got to figure out that balance of who you actually are. And I think one of the ways that I manage this somewhat is through slightly cosplaying. I'm not a cosplayer. I wish I was. I wish I had the talent. I wish I had the passion. I wish I had the time to do it and the mental energy to do any of it. You know, it seems really cool, but it's not for me. However, I will link to this video. It'll be linked up here. I dressed up as Alex Drake from Ashes to Ashes. We all know it's my favourite show and I live for it. And Alex Drake is my absolute all-time favourite character. That might be a lie, but I love her a lot. I really love Alex Drake. And she's another character that I'm just very dissimilar to. I'm not like Alex Drake. The ambition and passion and like wit and drive and like she is, I'm not like Alex Drake, you know? So in putting this outfit on, I wasn't trying to become Alex Drake. I wasn't trying to act like Alex Drake. I wasn't trying to alter me, myself as a person, or my personality. I was just indulging in the fact that I really love this character, and it's really cool to take a moment to be like, I look like my favourite character, I look like I could be in my favourite show, this is so cool. You know, it's just fun. It was just dress up. But I feel like that was honestly like kind of a pinnacle moment for me. I think that was kind of the moment that I realised I can love and adore these characters and celebrities and stuff without having to be them. I don't have to alter myself and become someone else to like myself. And, you know, I think that's something that's come with getting older and experiencing more and liking more things and having further special interests. Because so many of the characters that I've liked and the actors I've liked and the interests that I've had have been so vastly different to each other that it's really driven into my mind, like, the complexities of the fact that lots of different things can be equally good while being equally good in vastly different ways. Like, I don't have to be Helena Bonham Carter to be a cool person. I don't have to be Alex Drake to feel like I'm worth anything. You know, that's not to say it's easy, because I feel like it's like it's been this year I've really been able to start figuring myself out as a person. And I do feel like some degree of that's that I figured out my sexuality, and I feel like that sort of unlocked the floodgates, so to speak, for me to figure out lots of other things. I feel like that was really blocking a lot of my personal growth by not acknowledging that about myself and sort of hiding it away from myself, because I definitely had degrees of awareness, you know. And it's fucking scary. It's so fucking scary to figure out who you are. It's constant realizations and little epiphanies and little, oh, I don't like that thing about myself. Oh, well, this thing about myself's actually pretty decent. I should keep up with that. You know, it's finding things that you didn't even realise you have to work on and feeling like you're just adding more and more to your plate. But I also think it's very necessary, and as tough it is to acknowledge the things you don't like or the things you don't know and have to, you know, dwell on things and think about things and be really retrospective and introspective and all those respective words, it's beneficial in the long run, but it sucks to actually have to do it. It sucks to actually have to put the work in and acknowledge things about yourself and look inwards. It's scary and it's shitty and it's kind of horrible, and it's why I've spent a lot of this year having little breakdowns and cries. But I think it's absolutely vital and necessary to figuring myself out, finding out who I am, forming my own actual personality, you know. And it's another one that I think neurotypicals do it sooner. I do think that many of the struggles autistic people have, especially at my age, I'm 25, I think especially in our early 20s, you know, I've read online that everyone goes through like a second puberty in your early to mid 20s, and I think that's like doubly true for autistic people. I think that a lot of the things neurotypical kids figured out during their first puberty when they were teenagers, I'm really just settling into and figuring out now as a 25-year-old, and I definitely think that's part of being autistic for me. I think that a lot of my milestones and a lot of my, like, I don't know what it's called, the things that make you a person, you know, the milestones that you reach in like your personality and in life and everything, I think a lot of them do just sort of come later to me than they do to the neurotypicals. You know, they come sooner to the neurotypicals than they do to me, and it's really easy to feel down and shitty about that, but also I can't do shit about it, frankly, you know. I'm on my own path, I'm my own person, I'm doing my own thing, and things are gonna have to happen on my own timeline, and there's really just no point feeling bad about it. There's nothing I can do about that, you know. I'm doing what I can to improve and to grow and like myself and be a good person and be able to do things. I'm doing my best, and that's all that I can ask of myself. I know that I've sort of given advice almost at the end here by explaining what I've done to sort of figure myself out and find my personality, but it is also very, very, very difficult for me to give any sort of life advice, because number one, I'm an idiot, but number two, I feel like it's all things that I've just slowly learnt through experience, and it's like, well, if you're not having the experience and you haven't had these things happen, you haven't, you know, repeatedly done the things that I've done until I went, oh, wait a minute, then you're not gonna figure it out. It's not gonna sink in, you know. I've watched all sorts of life advice videos over the years, and it's very like you telling me, I learned this, so then I did this. Like, well, I haven't learned that. I've just watched you tell me it in a video and I'll probably forget it in a week. So I don't think it's really something I can give advice on. It's sort of just pointing out that I'm growing up. I don't know. But I wanted to talk about it. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. I mostly want to know if other people feel like you created your personality out of fictional characters, or, you know, random people in your life. I don't know, celebrities, brothers and sisters, maybe friends. I definitely picked up personality traits from friends and tried to be more like friends. I should have mentioned that sooner in the video, but we're at the end now. So I'd love to hear whatever you have to say. I'm sure it'll be much more interesting than this video. But thank you for watching it all the same. It's still mind-blowing to me that people watch and comment, so it's really nice when you do. Thank you very, very, very much. If you wanted to follow me elsewhere online, I'll have links below. There's a link to my Ko-fi if you wanted to donate a coffee to me. But yeah, that's all I have to say. So please comment, please like and subscribe. You can hit the bell button if you want. I don't know what it does still. But whoever you are and wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year. And I'll see you again in a few days.